I think the only thing more Italian than a cappuccino is a Ferrari at Monza. And the only thing more Italian than that is some fat old cunt called Giuseppe sitting on Lygon Street sipping a cappuccino who has never been to Italy. And I think I'm live. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to Turn15 channel. My name this week is Johnny Crash again. Why not? How are you going? Hope you're well. It is Sunday night, Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, wherever you might be. Sunday morning, perhaps. It's Sunday, it's race day. It is round 16 of the F1 Championship for 2025. We are at Monza in Italy. This is one of the best tracks on the calendar. This is a fantastic one. This is balls to the wall, flat out. Not that complicated, but very, very, very fast. Should be a great race today. Looks like lovely weather for it as well. So no rain, no showers like we had last week at Zandvoort. Just looks like a pure, great race. The grandstands are absolutely packed. There we go. 11 minutes exactly to counting down to the race. Italian flags everywhere, Ferrari gear everywhere, very, very red grandstands, and why would it not be? We are right in the heartland of Ferrari. There's the ex-Ferrari team boss, Mattia Binotto, talking to Gabriel Bortoleto, who has been really on a tear this year. He's having a pretty decent rookie season, I think he is. There's Liam Lawson, who's having an okay-ish season. Started fucking horribly, kind of went horribly after that, is starting to get a little bit better. I'm getting the feeling that he might actually stick around for next year, probably at Racing Bulls. And I got a bad feeling, if you're a Yuki Tsunoda fan, you might not have anything to watch next year. We'll see. We'll see if Honda can maybe give him a seat in IndyCar, because it looks like his F1 dream might be going up in smoke very soon. There's Lando Norris getting ready on the side of the grid. Looks like he's just spraying himself down with something. Not sure what in the world that is. Maybe cologne. Maybe he's hitting the clubs afterwards. Max Verstappen holding his own umbrella. What a gentleman. Talking to Lauren Mekies, who's doing an okay job, I think, at Red Bull so far. I mean, for example, they are on pole today. That's great. Good work. Still trying to find, I think, their feet after the whole Christian Horner sacking. That team's a little bit in limbo, I think. It's a little bit in limbo right now, but we'll see where they end up. Pretty decent hands they've got steering the ship now, so let's see what happens there. Now, about 10 minutes to race start. Shall we get into whatever happened this week in the news? Now, it was a great race last week at Zandvoort. Maybe I was a little bit pessimistic, maybe a little bit cynical when I said it wasn't really the race that I wanted. What I really wanted was a repeat of Hungary. The McLaren's absolutely going at it strategy-wise. Didn't quite pan out that way, unfortunately. It ended up being punctuated by safety cars, which sort of ruined the strategy. But there was a massive, massive moment in Zandvoort because Lando Norris's car blew the fuck up. Now, it looked, for all my money, like a powertrain failure. Apparently it wasn't. It was a McLaren part that failed. So if we are to believe that story, with no real reason to not believe it, so we will for now. Yeah, it's a damn shame. It's a real shame for Lando Norris, because it looks like that might be the killer blow in the championship. I think it's a rescue mission from here on for Lando Norris, who is starting second today, incidentally, ahead of Piastri, but there's a big fly in the ointment, and that's Max Verstappen, and that's going to be in two different ways, which I'll get into shortly. Now, yeah, I think the biggest story, and there has been stories all week, Gasly has been extended at Alpine, so he will be there until at least through 2028, so that's great news for Pierre Gasly. He's going to be a Formula 1 driver for another 3 seasons at least. How competitive Alpine are going to be for him that whole time, we shall see. You'd assume that they are a little bit more competitive than they are this weekend, where they have been kind of clogging up the back of the grid, because that Renault engine, that underpowered, that underpowered hunk of merde is going to be going out. And instead they're going to be getting a Mercedes engine next season. So a lot of faith, I think, in Pierre Gasly. 3 seasons for Alpine, and this is right on the cusp of the new rule cycle, so I guess he's got a lot of faith in Mercedes to produce something, and generally Team Enstone is pretty good. Generally they're pretty good. They can produce some pretty decent upsets every now and then. Remember Brazil last year, that was good for them. It's not been the smoothest of sailing couple of seasons for them though, so then again, I mean, the cynic in me, and I am the cynic in me tells me that more than Gasly having faith, I get the feeling it's just there's nowhere really else to go. Aston Martin aren't really interested in that. Door is filled for next year. Go through the list: Haas, Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes. Who else is really going to go for Pierre Gasly? So it looks like really it's Alpine or bust, maybe until the end, unless something happens. Perhaps something can happen with that team. Perhaps something happens with that driver that puts him in a more competitive position. I get the feeling his one really big chance in Formula 1 was in 2019 at Red Bull, and he blew it. So, shame. Just a shame. He's a good driver. He's a great driver. He's got a win under his belt. So, fantastic. At the end of the day, at least he's got that no matter what else happens in his career, which we shall watch over the next coming seasons. Now, the other big bit of news, well, there's a few big bits of news actually. So there was, we'll start with Colton Herta, who I really, really like as a driver. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I think he's been brilliant in IndyCar. I think he's got 9 wins in IndyCar now. Has quit IndyCar. He's walked away. So what I thought was a silly rumour and then a much more plausible rumour has turned into reality. He has, and quite quickly as well, he has quit. He's left Andretti, the IndyCar team. Still staying in the same family because Dan Taurus is the CEO of the Cadillac F1 team. So it's still keeping it basically in-house. I mean, what is Cadillac really is, I mean, it started as the Andretti F1 team effort, and it's kind of morphed into something else, but it's still got a lot of Andretti blueprints in there, so Herta staying more or less with the family. Now he's going to be doing F2, we think, next year. He doesn't have to do F2. He does have enough points that he only really has to do a few Friday drives and things like that to be able to qualify for a super license to race. The thing is, Bottas and Checo are both going to be at Cadillac rather for at least 2 seasons, from what we've heard, unless it's an option that they can cut one of them after 1 year or something. We'll see. I know that Cadillac has been very, very keen to get Colton Herta into F1, so let's see if that will happen. A lot of that relies... It's a big gamble. It's a really, really big gamble. He's going to be doing F2 probably next season. Not sure who that's going to be with, if they're going to try to sort something out with Prema, who also has an IndyCar team, so there's a little bit of an in there, or if they're maybe going to go after something else, another arrangement. But it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. We'll see what happens there. I really rate Colton Herta. I think he's fantastic. He's a fantastic driver. He's had a lot of good highlights. How good he is when it comes to Formula 1, we'll see. How competitive can Cadillac be? We'll see. I mean, F1 was his original dream. He did the lower formulas in Europe. God, going back about 10 years, I used to see his name in, I think it was like Formula Regional and Euro Cup and things like that. So he's not a complete stranger to the European way of racing, but he has been in IndyCar for a long time now, so a real change of pace for Colton. Let's see if it works. Now, what else? Red Bull unlikely to change drivers for the rest of the season, despite Hadjar's fantastic podium last week at Zandvoort. It looks like he is going to be staying at Racing Bulls for the rest of this season, at least. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's just time up for Yuki Tsunoda, and either something incredible happens through the rest of this season, or he's basically done, and then that would be, I think, 5 seasons in Formula 1, and he'd be out the other side. So let's see what happens with Yuki Tsunoda. Maybe he winds up in IndyCar, maybe he winds up doing something else. I mean, he's still very much a Honda driver as well as a Red Bull driver, so let's see. I would have thought that Honda were keen to get him into an Aston Martin, but maybe they're not that keen to do that anymore. We'll see. I mean, again, they're only an engine supplier. Aston Martin will definitely choose their own drivers, and they've already got their own drivers for next year, so maybe Yuki will turn back up. Maybe he won't. Who knows? That's all part of the fun, isn't it? So, going through the grid here, I'll get back to that in a second. The only other thing really I want to talk about before this race, there was a rumor coming around doing the rounds this week that the FIA was really keen to push through V8 engines from 2029 onwards. They wanted to get a much more simple power unit package going. There's a new one coming in next year. There's a lot of consternation about it. There's a lot of sweaty palms and mom spaghetti going on about these engine regulations, which is strange because a lot of it is coming from the FIA as well. They already look like they are full of regret trying to push through these engine rules, and they're trying to go for something else already. They've been sort of testing the waters, I think, of public opinion. What if we went back to V10s? And then every manufacturer said, basically, no, not interested. Okay, what about V8s? Maybe they'll go for that sort of thing instead. It's concerning to me that we're this close to a brand new engine regulation, and you'd think that the FIA, it being their rule set, the FIA would be shilling these things non-stop, that they would be saying, look how much technology is going into this is going to be fantastic, this is the future, and all of this stuff, and they have already twice now very seriously considered cutting this new engine formula. Basically, almost as soon as it hits, just after a couple of years, billions of dollars spent as well. Let's not, fuck about here. Billions of dollars spent by all of these manufacturers, and wooing Audi into F1 with this rule set, and in a way General Motors, and in a way Ford as well, but trying to woo all of these manufacturers into F1 with this rule set, and they already look like they're trying to get rid of it. So it means that I think a lot of maybe the horror stories we're hearing from the simulator runs with the new engine package and things like that might be real. It might be a lot of trouble actually next year for these engines and the new power unit. We'll see. I'd say keep an eye on this, because if the FIA is so keen to bring back V8s and things like that, and the FIA, I mean, they're no stranger to bad ideas. We've still got sprint races, doesn't matter what the public thinks. But yeah, it's just got to set up this live timing to make sure it's fitting. So we're almost ready to go on the formation lap. About 5 seconds to go if you're counting down at home. And we're underway. So Max Verstappen leads away from pole. I haven't even gone through the grid yet. How about that? Max Verstappen leads away from pole. An amazing pole lap, actually, from Max Verstappen. Yesterday qualifying, the fastest lap ever in Formula One history. The fastest qualifying lap in history. So fantastic effort from Max Verstappen. Well done. Once again, he is killing it. Let's see if that works. Lando Norris second. Oscar Piastri third, so that is a fantastic top three. Leclerc fourth, Russell, Antonelli, Bortoleto, amazing out of Bortoleto again. Alonso in eighth, Tsunoda in ninth, Hamilton in 10th. Now Hamilton is carrying a grid penalty from last week. He basically fucked up on the way to the grid last week. I think it was he was going too fast through a yellow flag zone or something like that. It's just one of those dopey sort of penalties that he really shouldn't be picking up, but I digress. So Bamman 11th, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Albon, Ocon, Stroll, Colapinto, Lawson, Hadjar, and Gasly. Now Hadjar and Gasly will be starting from the pit lane each. Hadjar, new power unit for Hadjar. I think Gasly's just made some setup changes and stuff, and what else are we riding? So Albon, Ocon, Stroll, Hadjar, and Gasly riding the hards. Lawson, the sole rider on the softs. Everybody else is going on the medium, so a little bit of strategy variation going on here. Just a little bit, just enough to make it a little bit interesting. Now, just a little bit more. There we go. That should be all set up in time. Lovely stuff. And Russell going into the Parabolica, which is now the Michele Alboreto corner, but I don't know why you would try to rename that corner. It's Parabolica. That's just what it always would be. Like, imagine trying to rename McDonald's or Twitter for example. Some people call it X. Those people are weirdos. It's Twitter. It has been for so long. That's it. That's the end of it. So the championship here, Piastri 309, Norris 275. It's a rescue mission. What can Norris do? Hulkenberg Radio, box to retire the car already. Goodness me. That didn't last long. So, wow. That's incredible. That's it. So they've spotted something on that Sauber and it's falling apart already. That's no good. And that's it. His race is over before it's even started. Amazing. So, okay, before the start, I will say very, very quickly, Verstappen on pole, he is the fly in the ointment. Now, two things could happen here. Piastri starting third, has Verstappen to draft into turn one. We will see what happens. Remember last year, how Oscar Piastri went very aggressive on Lando Norris on lap one into the second chicane and basically totally fucked his race from there. Allowed Charles Leclerc through for the win. The other thing is Norris is starting on the dirty side of the track, Piastri on the clean, but Norris and Max get along generally quite well. Although there's been a bit of argy-bargy between them the last year or so, so very fascinating. This is going to be a lot of fun into turn one here, and then turn two, and then onwards. Are you here to ruin the start, mate? Come on. Here we go. Green flag at the back. First light, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And lights are out. Here we go. So decent start out of Max. And look at that, Oscar's already got the draft going. Oh, he's tucked in behind. Oh, Lando's on the grass. What are you doing there, buddy? Side by side, Lando and Max into turn one. Max has been forced off. And Max cuts the corner. The other Red Bull did as well, and so did Bortoletto. So quite clumsy into turn one there. Looks like Charles Leclerc has gotten ahead of Oscar Piastri, so great news for Lando Norris. Almost a mirror image of what happened last year. Come on, mate. There you go. A lot more well-behaved into the second chicane there. Looks like everyone's coming out of that okay. Yuki Tsunoda going a little bit defensive. Here's Oscar going around the outside of Charles Leclerc. Amazing pass. That was fantastic. That was absolutely great from Oscar Piastri. Well done, lad. And he needed to get that done immediately. What's this idiot doing? He put me in the grass and he's just cut the corner. So that's Lando Norris radio, I think, about Max Verstappen. I want to see a replay of that. It looked a little bit more 50-50 than that. So we've still got 19 runners at the end of the first lap. Looks like the pit lane starters have also caught up to the back, so that's good for them. Verstappen give back the position, so they're not happy. Red Bull, they're anticipating that they're going to get a penalty. So here is Lando Norris taking Max Verstappen. Now Max is going to have to let him keep that position for a little bit. Oh, Oscar and Max are going to get very, very close here. Very, very close. Max holds him off. Charles Leclerc going around the outside. He's going to be getting the draft from Max as well. That should help him ahead, and it does for now. Let's see. Look at the slipstream. Look how much it helps here at Monza. It's just fantastic. Oh, very close between the Ferrari and Oscar there. Very, very close. Oh. They all make it out of turn two well, not turn two, but the second chicane rather, just fine. Oh, somebody's off at the back there. It looks like one of the, is that an Aston Martin? Looks like Stroll's falling down the order. It's like he's just missed the timing line there, so it must have been Stroll that went through in the second chicane. No further investigation between Norris and Verstappen. Well, that's interesting. So they tend to leave these things alone on the first lap. There's a lot of rope that they give them, plus the fact that Max already gave the position back. There's basically no case to answer here. Leclerc is all over the place under braking. I had to avoid him, said Piastri. That is coded message from Oscar to the FIA saying, penalise this man. We'll see. We'll see if they are listening. At Monza, I get the feeling Leclerc's going to have to pull some crazy shit to get a penalty. Oh, so Max is keeping up with Norris. Looks like Charles Leclerc is really holding up Oscar Piastri here. Oh, side by side into the chicane. And again, Charles Leclerc comes out ahead. Now, Russell looks quite close to Piastri back there, but I can't imagine he's going to be bothering him that much. So how about that? Kimi Antonelli, by the way, is down to 10, so not great out of him. On home... Oh... Bortoletto and Russell as well, side by side into the chicane. Russell stays ahead. So not a great home race start for Kimi Antonelli. He's been struggling lately, actually. He's not had a great second, third of the season, shall we say. Ever since Canada, really. He had a fantastic podium in Canada, and ever since then it's been very slim pickings out of him. Had another crash, or another rather, off in Friday practice this weekend, which isn't great for him. I tell you, the Ferrari looks good, at least this weekend. That livery, ooh, very, very nice. That is a tribute to Niki Lauda and Clay Regazzoni in 1975. Niki Lauda won the championship at Monza in 75, and Clay Regazzoni won the race. We'll see if they have any sort of good fortune like that today, I wonder, but I do doubt it. Here we go, Max around the outside. Ooh, that's very cheeky. Well done. Leclerc's just gone straight ahead at the chicane as well, so shouldn't be a penalty for Leclerc there. I think he'll get away with that. Although he might have Oscar Piastri right up his ass very soon. I tell you, Max Verstappen looks very, very quick. He really does look quick. He's already starting to put a little bit of a gap between himself and Norris as well. Lando, come on, buddy. So my live timing's gone down as well. So Tsunoda Hamilton incident noted. There's something really I wonder who's coding the F1 live timing app, because it's been really shitty all year. Like totally missing out tire selections and things like that. Just kind of glitching. You know, not great. Not great. Either way. Bless. Thank you, F1. Either way, here we go. This is Lewis Hamilton on Fernando Alonso, and he gets ahead, so we might just have to run this without. Maybe we run this without the live timing stuff today. So replay the start here. So again, Max had an okay start, but Lando for the first time in maybe forever had a decent start. He got pushed onto the grass. So, yeah, I think he was right to be complaining about that. And then Verstappen just sort of straight lines to first corner, yeah, so they were right to tell Max to give that back. You know what? Yeah, I think live timing's cooked. He's cooked, boys, he's cooked. Oh well, what can you do? We'll just have to... maybe it'll come back at some point in the race. We'll keep an eye on it. So, another replay at the start. Look at Leclerc looking very racy there. Just kind of no way through there. He let me go... He let the brakes go made on purpose. So Verstappen saying that he got pushed off, essentially, at turn 1. It's all a little bit of he said, she said here. So that's Oscar Piastri on Charles Leclerc. It looks like this time he's going to be able to get it through. Leclerc's going to hang it in there, but there's going to be no room. Yeah, decent pass from Piastri there. The problem is that he's already shipped 2 seconds to Lando Norris. So, not great for Lando Norris so far. And look at that, our top 3, our top 4 are exactly as they started. In fact, our top 5 are. Now, I think the big one to keep an eye on today is Lewis Hamilton. Started 10th, already 7th. He's going to be feeling it. It's his first race in Monza for Ferrari. So, there has never been a more day to be feeling it. Ocon Stroll forcing another driver off the track. Noted. Now, I didn't see that, but Stroll did miss the timing line, so it could well have been Ocon who forced Stroll off the track. Now, they're actually decent buddies, so it's always interesting to see the dynamic when you got two IRL mates. It must be the craziest shit. It's like, imagine seeing your buddy on the freeway and just getting major road rage at each other. That's Lewis Hamilton going past Gabriel Bortoleto into turn 1. Good work, Lewis. He's up to 6th. Now remember, he did cop a penalty, so really his pace is around about 5th, 6th. We'll see if he can do anything about Charles Leclerc ahead. First, he has to get past George Russell, which is always nice and awkward when you have to go by your old teammate and your old team. Now, I suppose the biggest thing is, can Ferrari get on the podium today? That's going to be their one big thing this week. They're really going to want to get on that podium too. Got Alonso now getting right up behind Bortoleto. Alonso being Gabriel Bortoleto's manager, so again another slightly awkward situation maybe. You know, I'm surprised looking 12th and 13th. I expected more out of the Williams this week. They got that decent Mercedes engine in the back, which you can see McLaren are using very well. There's a big task ahead for Williams, a very, very big task. They've done well. They did really well last week in Zandvoort. They've more or less done fantastically all season. Maybe in regards to what we expected out of them, or certainly what I expected out of them. I didn't expect a whole lot out of Williams this year, and they've certainly delivered more than they did last year, but which is strange because they've barely worked on the car this year, so I guess something must have gone right. Something must have gone right at Williams, but yeah, 12th and 13th today, it's not that great. Especially not when they got a Sauber and an Aston Martin ahead of them. At least in the points. They've also got a Haas ahead of them as well. Now this is Isaac Hadjar trying to make something of a comeback. That's on Colapinto. Doesn't make it work. Has to straight line the first chicane. Now here is George Russell on Charles Leclerc. Now, has Charles Leclerc cooked his tyres too much, trying to stay ahead of Oscar Piastri? I mean, Leclerc, he's a little bit like Hadjar last week. He's very solid in 4th there, but he's really going to need some reliability help to get on the podium today, I think. He's definitely not quicker than the Red Bull, and he's definitely not quicker than either McLaren. I mean, when it comes to a race win today, hope dies last, but I'd say hope is kind of on life support right now at Ferrari. Hope's on life support, and McLaren and Red Bull are both reaching for the plug now. Gasly still dead last. You know, like, Ocon, 5-second penalty for forcing Stroll off the track. Well, I don't recall seeing a replay about that yet, so I'm hoping that we'll see another angle of that. At the very least, to see what was, you know, what's the difference between that and then all the antics that we saw on lap 1. Oh, Russell getting close to Leclerc. Getting close, just doesn't quite get it done. It is quite difficult to pass here. It's going to be very interesting to see what the passing is like next year here, but kind of everywhere as well, because at the very least they've got the DRS here. The thing is, the DRS doesn't work that well at Monza in the same way that it doesn't work that well in a DRS train, because it's a similar sort of principle. They run so little downforce here that opening the rear wing doesn't really get rid of a whole lot of drag, because there's just not that much drag to get rid of in the first place. I mean, it helps, but it doesn't help. Like, I mean, when you go to a track like Zandvoort or something, generally you're running so much downforce that when the rear wing opens up, oh, here we go, Lance Stroll, Ocon, so Ocon, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, Esteban, yeah, you can eat that penalty, buddy. Eat that and have fun with it. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, the you go to a track like Zandvoort and you run so much downforce generally there that when the rear wing opens up, this massive amount of drag just gets taken off the car and you just tend to zoom by, which is why we see actually quite a lot of passing at Zandvoort. I mean, again, it's not the easiest track to pass on, but you definitely do see some passing here. But Monza, it's very, very different. It's very different. I mean, you can see the time there between Leclerc and Russell. It's barely moving, and that's Leclerc without a DRS and Russell with, and it just barely changed at all. You're gonna have to really hope that somebody cooks their tires out of the Parabolica, because that's really the best way to get by here. Now there's some decent passing opportunities into the Parabolica, into turn 1, into the second chicane. If you're really brave, maybe at the Lesmo as well, but also if you're brave, maybe at the Ascari chicane. So it's not like there's one place to pass here. You can kind of get it done anywhere, but you really need a decent speed delta over the car ahead of you. I mean, kind of no shit, that sort of news, but you really, really, genuinely, you do need that. You can't just be a little bit faster. You have to be quite a lot faster than the guy ahead of you to make a move and make it stick. Here we go, Leclerc, Russell, 0.7 seconds now. Let's see if he can get a little bit closer. Just kind of maintaining that gap there, maintaining the gap through the whole, down the whole back straight, and now onto the front straight. Now let's have a look at it here. Again, 0.74, 0.71. 0.6, and then that's it. Just what I was saying, that's 1/10. Generally you'd see a car maybe catch up 3 to sometimes 5/10, maybe even more, for a decent DRS pass, especially one on a straight that long. But here it just doesn't really work that well. It's a bit like vintage F1 then, where the DRS was not a thing, and if you wanted to pass, you had to fucking send it. You had to send it and make it count. And a 5-second penalty for forcing Stroll off track in turn 2. Yeah, it's fucked that. Track gets narrower there, so there was no space. That's it, says Ocon. Well, you know. I mean, my sympathy is kind of limited there for Ocon, because the track is narrow there, but there is still enough room to not force another guy off the track completely. I mean, it's happened to some greats there. I remember Kimi Räikkönen ate a grid penalty years ago there. Years ago. What was that, 2002, for forcing Sato into a crash there. So it's a quirk of the track, but it's also, don't be such a clumsy bastard. Stop fucking around, Esteban. No one's in the mood for it. Not sure why they put Colapinto in with this rookie drivers combo. I think he's had... How many starts has he had now? Nearly 20? When everybody else is still like halfway through their first season? I mean, it's one of them, like, technicality. Maybe he's a full season rookie, maybe, but he did a decent chunk of races last year. Yeah, he really did a decent chunk of races, and he sort of went all over the place. He was, Azerbaijan, Singapore, here as well last year. I feel like they just sort of swapped doing out for Colapinto. I mean, that's what Alpine did, but I think, like, FOM has swapped doing out for Colapinto on that graphic, and they just haven't really thought about it. Whatevs, either way. So totally unnoticed by me, and apparently unnoticed by everybody. Lawson has pitted, and he's pitted for hard tyres. Was that a couple of laps ago? He's the invisible man, what can you say? Actually, I'm surprised RB are all the way down there as well. I always expect them to be more competitive than they ever are. I remember a couple of years ago they had apparently they had a decent car, and they're supposed to be working a lot more closely, collaboratively when designing the car with the senior Red Bull team, and just it's never really gone anywhere. Now, speaking of not really going anywhere, Russell's still following Leclerc, so Verstappen has opened a 4-second lead on Lando Norris. Holy shit, is Max going to get it done? The weekend that he's nailed, equaled as many pole positions as Seb Vettel ever got for Red Bull, which is surprising because I'd say Max is a far fucking better driver than, or he's a better 4-time world champion, to put it that way, than Sebastian Vettel. A lot more fierce, I think. And Vettel I used to really, really rate. It's a shame how hard he fell off. It's one of those things, I always assumed Verstappen would have had more pole positions than that by now. I mean, he's certainly racked and stacked the wins. Looks like he might have another one today. It'd be a decent weekend to do it as well. I mean, any weekend is decent for a win, but on the weekend where you get that pole record alongside Seb, when you get the actual pole top speed record in Formula 1, it'd be nice to cap it off with a win too. Pulling out a little bit on Lando Norris lap by lap as well. It's now up to 4.2 seconds. Piastri is 5.5 seconds behind in third. Now that's bad news for Lando Norris because he's more than 30 points. I think, what is he now, 35, 36 points behind Piastri. This is only going to catch him up 3 points. That's not nearly enough. Not even close to enough. Norris really needs a calamity for Oscar Piastri. And not just that, he needs to win when it happens. He really, really, really needs it. And I'd say the title fight itself needs it, because otherwise I get the feeling it's going to be one long choke out. It's going to be Piastri champion, maybe even by Qatar. I would assume Piastri is going to finish ahead 3, 4, maybe 5 times for the rest of the season. And I mean, without a DNF, how do you ever bring that sort of a points gap down? I get the feeling it's just Piastri now. It's the Oscar show. I think he might know it as well, which is why he's not really pushing anywhere from here. He could just cruise, I think, in third to the rest of the year, or second place. Now, Norris is going to have to basically win through the rest of the year. Any loss is going to be devastating for him, including today. The Leclerc radio, this is good, nice and clean. So, yeah, I mean, Charles doing a decent job. There's not much more he could do from there, really. So well done, Charles. Well done, buddy. Looks like there's not really a lot of movement on the grid so far, to be honest. Or down the field, rather. Not on the grid anymore, are we, huh? Again, that's a cat down there. I'm not having fun. I love a Max win, but I don't love it this much, you know what I mean? Now, Drivers' Championship, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton. Look at the gap between Leclerc and Hamilton. Fucking hell. I mean, you want to talk about what looks like an insurmountable points gap. That looks massive. And Ferrari at this rate, between Red Bull winning today and McLaren looking as competitive as they have all year, you really start to wonder where in the world Hamilton is going to make that point gap up. I mean, if they were to switch today, Hamilton 4th, Leclerc 6th, that's still not that many points that he's catching up there. They're really getting down to the pointy end here, and it's just not really working for him. Now, while we're in a bit of a lull, let's see if I can reset this timing. Because it looks like it's actually back to where it should be. Looks like it got all out of whack too. Now, Is that... It looks like Leclerc's gone a little bit wide there. Bit of gravel there. Now, I wouldn't assume that they're going to throw a safety car for gravel like they did a couple of years ago in Australia. But it's crazy how much gravel tends to get thrown up, which I suppose is the other side of the whole... we've heard this for forever now, for what seems like generations. The gravel trap on the edge of the circuit debate, if there is a debate to be had. So at the turn of the century, I mean, traditionally you would have trees or hay bales or things like that on the outside of these tracks, and then as safety improved, as the drivers, kind of got sick of dying and being maimed every time they crashed, these tracks generally got safer over time. Armco barriers, which then turned into, as you can see there, covered Armco barriers. Oh, that's Antonelli on Yuki Tsunoda, and he's made that work. Well done. You know what? Just quickly, that's actually a nice little group that we got going here. So this is Kimi Antonelli now leading it. And it goes all the way back with little Lance Stroll. Look at them all in a line there. So this is a DRS train. But it looks like Yuki is really starting to fall back now. Either way. So the tracks, as they gotten safer, one of the things that... science incident, failing to follow race director's instructions, so he hasn't gone the proper way off. Okay. Yeah, he hasn't gone the proper way through the off track at the end of the second chicane, so they'll probably give him a penalty for that, which is a shame. It's Lando Norris who went a little bit wide. So was it Lando, not Charles Leclerc, who went a little bit wide a couple laps ago? Could well have been. Either way. Ooh, that's a Haas pitting, so that's Ollie Behrman. It's not the Haas with the penalty. So meanwhile, let's see what Liam Lawson can do, because he pitted, 7 laps ago, and he was the only one who's done it so far, so we'll see. That doesn't look like that fast of a stop out of Haas either. 3.3 seconds, it's a little bit rubbish. I think Liam Lawson might jump him here. He might jump him. Yeah, it looks like Lawson's actually beat him out there. Well, how about that? Now, where was I going with this? Look at all the gravel now outside the second Lesmo. So, alright, Verstappen getting told on the radio just to keep doing what he's doing, which I assume he can do. Now, over the years, one of the big debate points since really the early days of the 21st century, you can see here on the outside of the parabolica all of that tarmac. Oh, Red Bull mechanics dropping Yuki Tsunoda's tyres as they came off the rack there, so well done, guys. So they've pulled Yuki Tsunoda into the pits here. Okay, I get the feeling my timing screen is actually a fucking lap behind, so well done, F1. You know what, I think that might just be the end of this. We'll run with bad timing for the rest of this. How about it? Either way, Tsunoda in the pits and then out again. I was wondering why I didn't see Behrman in the pits. And Lawson has got by him. But he stays ahead of Behrman. So at the very least there's that. But look at that. Behrman's caught right up. Caught right up to him. Oh, he's very, very close to Behrman as well. Behrman rather is very, very close to Tsunoda. He's going to go to side by side and he goes by. Surprising, actually. That's very, very quick out of Ollie Behrman. I would have thought that maybe Tsunoda would fight that a little bit harder. Now, Tsunoda did have a problem with his battery yesterday, so I wondered if everything's working as it should on that car. This is Pierre Gasly again. Ooh, taking a lot of gravel. I get the feeling there might be a safety car getting called soon. Look at all the gravel. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna, because things are actually happening now. I'm gonna hurry up this point. That's Bortoleto and Alonso in the pits. Really, really close there. So I'd say a quick pit stop really could make the difference here. Alonso's on his way. 3.2 seconds. That's not a quick pit stop. That doesn't look like a quick pit stop for Sauber either. That's going to be very close. I think 4 seconds. I think Alonso would have got him there. And Alonso is ahead. Alonso is now ahead of Bortoleto. So good stop, Aston Martin. And you can see how close Alonso was to Bortoleto coming into the pits there. Uh-oh, Lawson v Alonso. Now these guys have a lot of history this year. So Lawson is going to jump quite high up the order here, but the thing is his tyres are they're going to be so old by the end of this race, so we'll see exactly how well he can hold on when he's on 40 odd lap old Pirellis. Now, basically where I'm going with this, they've tarmacked the outsides of a lot of these corners. Now, a lot of tracks, a lot of F1 tracks and things like that. Oh, so Alonso really, really close to running into the back of Bortoleto. That was on purpose, I think. He was just trying to get everything that he could out of that gap. That's canny racing by Fernando Alonso, as long as he didn't speed in the pit lane, and it looks like he's fine. Now, Alonso might be actually eating a penalty later. Something about he did a practice start on the way to the grid. There's some kind of an anomaly about it. I'm not exactly sure if he's in the wrong place or something like that. He looked like he was fine, but the FIA reckon that there might be a case to answer Fernando Alonso, so let's see if he ends up holding up after the race. Now, looks like a lot of that gravel is also cleared out of the Lesmo as well. Or at least it's cleared off the racing line. Now the thing is, these cars, when they generate so much downforce through ground effects, they suck up everything on the track and they tend to throw it away, throw it out the side. So the good thing is they will suck up a lot of that gravel and chuck it out and disperse it off the racing line. The bad news is they will suck that gravel up and smash the shit out of the floors. These floors, by the way, are carbon fiber, so they are strong, they're sturdy, but if you throw a rock at them, it will damage it. Actually, there is a lot of gravel on the outside there, so we'll see. As long as everybody is well behaved there, I think through the rest of the race, it shouldn't be that bad. We have seen a safety car thrown for gravel before, so it's not totally alien of a call for F1 to make, but we'll see. I think the big loser out of this entire pit sequence looks like Yuki Tsunoda so far, because he is behind the Haas, behind Lawson. He will be running, I think, position corrected when everybody else pits. He's probably going to be running outside of the points here. It's just not working out for Tsunoda at Red Bull. It's just not working. It didn't work for Lawson, didn't end up working for Checo in the end, and it's definitely not working for Tsunoda now. Ooh, hello. We will see if it works for probably Hadjar next year any better. It will be an entirely new car, so at least he's got that. The big problem for Lawson and Tsunoda is that they inherited the car, for the most part, the car that absolutely fucked Checo's brain as well, so bad luck for them. Now, what I was saying before, look at all the tarmac on the outside. When a lot of these tracks, Monza or, they're basically any track that's not a straight track in F1, they supplement income by doing track days and things like that. Now, what a millionaire who's driving his Ferrari or his Lamborghini or whatever it might be on a track day, what he doesn't want is, if he cooks a corner, he doesn't want to go off and destroy his car, his pride and joy and all of that sort of stuff. So that, and there's a safety aspect. Gravel doesn't slow cars down. In a lot of instances, it does not slow a car down like tarmac can. If you go off on tarmac, you can slam on the brakes, and you can slow the car down a lot better than if you go off in the gravel. There's a chance that the car could dig in and maybe roll. If it's sideways, there's a chance that the car could just skate along the top of the gravel, not slowing down at all, like we saw at Spa in 2001 with Luciano Berti. There's been a lot of instances of that, of the gravel traps essentially not working when the cars are very, very quick through them. So they started tarmacking him. And then the big push against that over the following years, in the earlier years of the 21st century, was there's no punishment for going off now. I mean, look at this. You see the big Tag Heuer ad painted on the side of the track there, and just acres of tarmac off the track. Now, years ago, there was all of this debate of there is no real punishment for going off. If you used to cook a corner, like the Parabolica, or like Turn 2, or their second chicane rather, you would eat a lot of shit for it. Into Turn 4, keep the racing line instruction this lap, please. I think there's more to win by. Guys, don't agree, please. Oh, so are they going to switch sites in Albon? Alonso's broken. Ah, fuck. Yeah, that's Alonso in the last corner, and that's Albon going around Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz does not like this call. Now, they are on different tyre strategies. Not sure about that with Williams. We'll have to see what's going on here. Yeah, that's Alonso. Is that a puncture of Alonso? It looks like the car's sort of dipped down a little bit. No, maybe it's the suspension component or something. It looks like it's dipping down. Suspension failure, yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, so that's it. I just assumed it would be a power unit failure, but no, suspension. You could see it coming into the... oh, here we go. Over the curb. Oh, yeah, that was a big... So at the Ascari chicane, he's gone over the curb and you could just see the tyre just pop out of place like that. Yeah. A little bit of a Manson in Adelaide moment there. Showering sparks all over the track. You know, that's a shame. That kind of sums up Alonso's season, to be honest. Any promise of points and things like that has tended to go on south. So it's a great shame. It's a great shame for Fernando Alonso. Hopefully his car next year is going to be better, because that could well be it for Fernando Alonso. He is 44 years old. He will be 45 by the end of the next season. You know, he can't hang around forever. He really can't. And the end of next season, there's going to be a lot, I think, of switcheroo in the driver market. Max Verstappen being the big name, and he might even end up in Alonso's seat. You never know. It's going to be fascinating to see. One thing that is for certain, well, it's looking absolutely for certain, is that Mercedes is just going to keep its current driver lineup for next year. So that's good news for Kimi, and it's good news for George. Now, how long they're going to sign those lads on for, we'll see. If it's a 1 year apiece, I mean, if I'm George Russell, I'd be bloody insulted by that. But we'll see either way. Piastri being asked if he can extend his tyre strategy, and he looks like he says he can. So let's see. Alright, so McLaren aren't happy with what they're seeing out of everybody else with their tyres, and now they're trying to extend the life of the stint. We'll see. I get the feeling Piastri, he's not going to be pushing all that hard. He's kind of in no man's land here. 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds behind Norris, 6.5 seconds in front of Leclerc. He's just kind of running out there on his own, and there's no real point to pushing it from here. I mean, Piastri has driven a lot like... Sainz front tyres are dead in traffic, so I get the feeling he's just complaining there to his team for putting him behind Alex Albon there. Yeah, I get the feeling you might see a little bit of aggro between Carlos Sainz and the Williams team after this. Doesn't sound like he's very happy with any of their strategy calls. Actually, he's an interesting one, Carlos Sainz. I mean, he's said, oh, Russell's in the pits. So he's an interesting one, Carlos Sainz. We'll see what he does. We'll see what he does when it comes to extending at Williams. Because I'm pretty sure he isn't contracted through... I'm pretty sure he's a free man after next season. So we'll see about him. We'll see about him. Russell pulls across the track right in front of, is that Colapinto? Yes, it is. Colapinto's having an okay race today, actually. You know, very okay. Thoughts about continuing till we put soft? May as well continue now, Fear. It looks like the front three, kind of the front four, are just sort of locked into place. I don't think any of them really has the pace to go any further. Oh, Tsunoda and Lawson. Oh, there is a little bit of contact there. Hey Liam, do you remember doing that last year? Tsunoda, what is he doing, bro? I mean, we saw him racing Checo like that last year. Now, this is Tsunoda. He's gone by. So I wonder if that's Red Bull orchestrating that pass. Now, Antonelli looks like he's in the pits. Yep. There he goes. So Mercedes, once again, kind of doing the same strategy with their cars. Either way, we are lap 29 of 53, so we're already more than halfway through this race. Kind of waiting for... It feels like it's just simmering, just endlessly simmering, but not quite cooking this race. Oh well, whatever. Either way, we can't all be zingers, either way. Shall I finish the point from before? Because it might come into play. There's a lot of gravel now on the side of the road because the purists want it back. They didn't like all the asphalt on the side of the road. They think if you go off, you should be punished for it, and the best punishment is a gravel trap. It also stops with them taking the piss when it comes to going off track, cutting corners, or really taking too much curb on the exit. I mean, what was it, Austria a few years ago, where there was hundreds of white line infringements. More white line infringements than the West Coast Eagles and a year wrap up. So F1 has started reintroducing gravel traps and really pushing them to the edge of the track. The downside of that is these cars are big and heavy, and they're wide, and they are very, very quick, and they tend to every now and then run a little bit too far over the curb, as you do when you're pushing. You take a little bit too much curb. Ooh, black and white flag for Antonelli, track limits. Alright, careful, gimme. And then when they push too far, they end up bringing a whole bunch of gravel and dumping it on the racetrack. And the bad thing about that is, the gravel that they use, it's not like soft sand or anything, it is proper chunks of rocks and things like that. Like, it's bloody hard. If you've ever been to one of these F1 races, you know it's a bit like it's like those heavy aquarium gravel things, like big stones, and it will slow an F1 car down, sort of. It's definitely not that pleasant to drive on, but it's bloody heavy, these things. I mean, you really understand why these things damage the floors of the cars when they run over it. Very unpleasant sort of shit. Anyway, the downside of that is when you've got one corner where a lot of guys start pushing, a lot of gravel ends up getting thrown onto the side of the road, and it's bloody dangerous, really. I mean, ask Helmut Marko how dangerous a bit of gravel flying at a helmet could be. It could be horrific. And the thing is, with the halo, it's great for tires and nose cones and big sections like that to keep them away from the driver, but little rocks, little chunks of things like that just go right through. That's why IndyCar opted for an aero screen. But F1 didn't. Either way, lap 31, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton up to 5th, and Albon, Ocon, Stroll, Hadjar, George Russell. So George Russell 10th now, and he has pitted. Just ignore this timing screen. It's all fucked up. And, I don't know. Yet more great coding out of F1. It's Franco Colapinto. cooking turn 1 and going off. Whoops. Yeah. Actually, it's nice that they've taken a lot of these sausage curbs away from the inside, because that was another method of slowing these cars down and dissuading them from cutting, across the track, because you would have these gigantic, like BeamNG style speed bumps in front of you that would just destroy the cars. And the downside is they tended to flip cars as well, especially if they went across at speed. I mean, what was it, Alex Peroni, I think Monza 2020, 2021, something around then, absolutely fucking launched an F3 car at the Parabolica corner. Just went wide because it's tarmac, again, because it's tarmac on the outside, just kept his foot in it because there's no punishment, went wide, and then clobbered one of those sausage curbs and just yeeted his car into the scenery. It was incredible to see. I mean, you see that sort of shit in a video game when you take in the piss, but to see it in real life is just astonishing. It fucking looked like he did it on purpose almost. It was just insane. Either way, lap 33. Car 33 is in the lead. Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Albon, Ocon, Stroll, Hadjar, Russell. Now, Russell is the first of the runners who has pitted. Gasly, Colapinto behind Russell, who have not pitted. Everybody else, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Behrman, Sainz, Tsunoda, Lawson, have pitted. Of course, Alonso and Hulkenberg retired. Hulkenberg didn't even get started. Who have we got here? Esteban Ocon's partner. Well, fair enough. That's Isaac Hadjar into the pits. A little bit more reserved from Hadjar this week. It's difficult to follow up a podium for a Racing Bulls car. I mean, what really can you do to follow that up? Like, if Metallica play Enter Sandman in the middle of the concert, what the fuck else are they going to do? Especially if they play the first 5 albums in the middle of the concert, then what? Fucking stuck with Saint Anger after that. Now Ferrari are coming up for a pit stop. Is this Leclerc or is this Hamilton? It's Charles Leclerc. Here we go. Now, they could double stack if they really wanted to, but I don't think they will. That was Leclerc locking up into the pits. Oh, I think he'll get away with that. I think he got that slowed down in time. It's always nervy when you go into the pit lane locked up, kind of out of control. I mean, if you're a couple of meters past that line locked up and you're going too fast, they will ping you for it. Even if it's like 0.1 k an hour over time, they will ping you for it. Leclerc carries on, and he is now running 3.5 seconds behind Alex Albon, who has yet to pit. So the thing is, outside of the sort of the fringe top 10, like maybe 7th, 8th, 9th, that sort of stuff, there's not really a lot going on in this race, to be honest. Everybody's just kind of fallen into a 5 or 6 second window and they're just kind of sticking there. Not a lot to do. Now, Monza next year I think might be a lot more interesting, especially if we're to believe some of the stories coming out of the simulators. What I was talking about before with F1 and its new engine consternation and concerns and things like that. We've heard stories that these cars might have to come off throttle or switch down gears on the middle of straights because they will run out of battery power. Of course, these cars next year are going to be split half and half between internal combustion engine power and battery power. So half electric is what they're going to be. Oh, Russell's got a decent run here. Leclerc questioning his strategy. We can discuss it later. Fucking fantastic. It's exactly what you want to hear from Ferrari strategy. George Russell on the inside of Lance Stroll, and he's going to make that work. So, good stuff. Good stuff. So here we go. This is a replay. Ooh. You know, on the replay, I'm not sure about that out of Charles Leclerc. I think he might have cooked that a little too hard over the line. Now, they're on that pretty quick, the FIA. Like, usually they'll announce it within a lap or two that somebody's under investigation for speeding in the pits, because that shit pings immediately. And generally, if it ever pings, it's a slam dunk penalty. So maybe he got away with it. Maybe he did. Let's see now. George Russell is lining up Esteban Ocon. Already put a little distance back to Lance Stroll as well. So, of course, Russell on newer tyres than everybody around him. Oh, there we go. Nailed it. George Russell ahead into turn 1, and away he goes. Good stuff. Norris, what are your thoughts on the soft tyre opposite of the car ahead? So he's just saying, do something, whatever Max Verstappen does, do the opposite, which really is all you can do here. Now, exactly how long the soft tyre is going to last here, I mean, Parabolic is a very high-speed corner. The Ascari chicane is a very high-speed corner. The Lesmos are quite high-speed corners. The thing is, the soft tyre will get torn apart. It will grip. It will absolutely go hell for leather for the first few laps, but it will not last. On a hot track like this, with high, medium and high speed corners, I mean, here we go. What's this, a Lesmo? About 180-ish at the apex. They're quick. It's a quick corner, especially the Ascari chicane and the Parabolica, and you're really asking a lot out of your tyres in the Parabolica. Sorry, the Alboreto. The Alborotico. Yeah, just look at the speed you put through the tyres in the Ascari chicane. So they might last, they might not. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's brave out of Norris. And really, he's got nothing to lose here. If he finishes behind Piastri, I mean, he's already fucked. So, but if he finishes ahead of Verstappen, then he's a genius. And then suddenly that's 10 points clawed back, and then that's not overcomable, if you know what I mean. Well, that's not like not overcomable, if you know what I'm saying. A 10-point swing from Norris to Piastri is far more favourable than the 3 that he's going to get right now. So Verstappen into the pits. This will leave about 15 laps to go. So the thing is, the cars will be mostly light. The track will be very rubbered in. Max has gone for the hard. So I would assume Norris is going to go for the soft. Now Piastri is probably going to have to do the opposite of Lando Norris. I think Piastri's probably accepted that the race win is out of his hands here, because he's about 12 seconds off the lead, you know, once the pit stops all cycle through. So let's see. Now Norris is going to have to extend this stint, and what he's going to hope is that Max cannot get those hard tyres fired up, and he's going to hope that the soft tyres not only are going to give him an advantage, but are going to hold on to the end. It means that he's going to have to pit, I'd say, pretty late. You wouldn't want to pit with... goodness. You'd want to keep it as... I mean, you don't want... 3 laps is fucking way too late to do anything with the softs, but you don't want to do too many laps on the softs and then start suffering at the end. Yeah, really the best thing that Norris can hope for is that this strategy does not work for Max Verstappen. So we'll see. Alright, Sainz, the battery today is a joke. Yeah. So, car troubles for Carlos Sainz. Same as the rest of the season, I guess. Now, Piastri has caught up a little bit on Lando Norris here, so Piastri, I think it might be time to go here. Lewis into the pits. Looks like a pretty bog standard stop as well out of Ferrari there. And they're not going to tell us exactly how long that was. Oh, there we go, 2.1. It looked longer than that. That's what she said. What else? Meanwhile, what's nuts is look at Alex Albon still running in fourth. I mean, I know that's all pit stop stuff, but it's nice to see a Williams at least are near the pointy end of this race. I get the feeling Williams now are gambling for a safety car or something, which is always possible when you've got Colapinto, when you've got Antonelli, especially when you've got this Antonelli versus Pierre Gasly. Oh, Kimi, that's a decent pass. Oh, that's a decent pass. That is like... It's like a nice greasy burger at the end of a night out. It's just what the doctor ordered. It's good stuff. Alright. So, lap 40 of 53. There we go, Hamilton radio. Great job on the stop, guys. Sorry I was long. Oh, okay, so the stop, I think... That's why it looks so long. I think he just didn't take off quick enough. Fuck, I tell you, if... I kind of want to see a replay of that. Maybe I'll just go back and watch it later, but it looked like a longer stop than the 2.1 seconds that they said. Now, I don't know how they time it, if it's the car going is when they stop the timer, or if they stop it, the pit stop time, when everything's ready to go. Like, when the lollipop raises, if you know what I mean. Because if Lewis was long getting out of this... There it is. There it is. Sainz and Behrman. Contact. Oh. That's Hadjar going by the both of them. So, well, fuck. Alright. 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 So, well, that was just clumsy, I think, out of both of them. I want to see a replay of that, but it looked initially like just two going into one. It looked like Sainz fought a little bit too hard to keep it, and it looked like Behrman was a little bit too ambitious trying to get it. And that's Lewis Hamilton going by Lance Stroll. Good stuff. Into turn one. Pretty bog standard. Hello there. Oh, Bortoletto on the Alpine as well. Oh, here we go. Replay. So, Sainz... He is ahead into the corner. Yeah, I think Behrman probably should have let him go there. yeah, Behrman should have let him go. He's you got to know when it's done. You know, you got to be able to concede sometimes. He just turned across in front of me like I wasn't there. A corner was there, Ollie. You fucking twit. Bearman, I love you, mate, but that's on you, buddy. That's on you. You got to learn when to concede sometimes. You got to learn, and this will come with experience, you got to learn when you've been passed. And it's never fun to get overtaken, but it does fucking happen. And when it happens, you got to swallow this shit. You got to accept it, you know. Slow stop, it looks like, for Albon as well. It's not been the tidiest of pit stops today, has it? Hamilton getting by Esteban Ocon there. Turn 5 incident involving Sainz and Behrman noted, so I would assume the Behrman's eating a penalty, but considering the contact they both had there, I'd say they've both eaten a lot of shit there, so, you know, kind of what does it matter from here? That's a shame. That's a real shame. It's a real shame. I mean, end of the day, they're both out of the points, so it's not like it really counts for a lot here, but it's certainly not fun. I mean, following the pit stop cycle, they would have been behind Bortoletto. So we'll see where Bortoletto ends this race, and we'll see. We'll see if maybe it could have been a point for them. Now, Albon, look at that, has made his stop and has come out in 10th. Well done, Alex Albon. He's leapt Bortoletto. That's a decent amount of points, I think. I mean, it's 1 point right now, but the Haas still has a pit stop and a penalty to take, and so does the Aston Martin ahead of him. So it looks like it could well be, what would that be, 8th, I think, for Albon in the end? Bortoletto 9th. Ooh, maybe it could have been Sainz in 10th after all. Maybe that was a big mistake. Either way, 10 laps to go. Norris, Piastri, Verstappen. Both McLarens have not pitted yet. So both McLarens are going to come out quite a ways behind. Verstappen here, but I get the feeling Leclerc is getting only 20. He's about 30 seconds actually behind Piastri. Yeah, I think Leclerc won't come into it. Not unless it's a bad pit stop out of McLaren, in which case, whoops. What's keeping me really invested in this is what McLaren are doing at the front. They haven't just, gone with Red Bull and accepted second and third. It looks like they're really trying to make something happen here. So let's see. Let's see what they can get out of this. Albon on Antonelli. This will be fun. Now, those two I think are equal on points in the championship, which is another thing I wouldn't have thought coming into the season. Especially this late in the season. What is it, round 16? Great for Albon. Kind of poor for Antonelli. The thing is, he's just turned 19 as well. Ooh. Decent block by Antonelli there. Into the first chicane. Well placed car. Oh, there's a bit of contact there and he's forced him off. That'll be a penalty. I think that'll be a penalty for Antonelli. This is what happens when you've got... And now he's going to go around the outside. And Alex Albon makes it through. So, well done. That's what happens when you get these young, very young kids. I mean, Antonelli does have talent. We've seen it in his junior formulas. In his junior years, we've heard about it. His great pace when he was doing his testing program for Mercedes last year. He's definitely got the speed. But he's so bloody young. And I don't know, well, I don't understand why there is this... Yeah, I think that's... Antonelli's might end up beating a penalty for that. Although it depends what the FIA really wants to call it. Because Albon really was quite far behind him there, but Antonelli definitely did ease him off the track there. So, I mean, by my eyes, that's a penalty. Alright, so here we go. McLaren getting ready for a pit stop. Is it going to be Lando or is it going to be Oscar? It's going to be Oscar. So they are going to pit Oscar first. Alright. McLaren has said to Lando Norris that there will be no undercut, so I'm guessing that they're going to pit... Ooh, yeah, and it's a soft tyre. They're going to pit Norris next time around. Alright, so it's going to be about 7-ish. 6-7 laps to the end on the soft tyre for Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris here. So Oscar pits on the soft quick stop too. Lando should pit at the end of this lap. Yeah, there we go. Race control noted. Albon and Antonelli. I don't know why there is such an obsession with trying to shove some of these guys in so soon. Like, there's no... I don't get I don't get why you wouldn't wait. Keep the guy in F3, keep the guy in F2 for a season or two longer just to really get him cooking, you know, to really make sure that he comes in a lot better prepared, because it's really not fair on the driver. They don't get a lot of time in F1 cars. Penalty, 10-second time penalty for Bamman causing a collision. He's 15th, it's not going to do much. No. That's a long stop for Norris. What is going on? Why were they holding Norris 6 seconds? What in the world? Piastri's going to get him here. Boxing the cars this way around to ensure we cover Leclerc. You are free with Lando once he's ahead of pit exit. He's not ahead though. They've dropped him. What in the world was that? I don't know what the fuck's going on here. It looks like... front left gun apparently. So here we go, replay. Yeah. The fucking front left. So the mechanic on the front left thought he tightened it, then hadn't. You can see him, he's waiting there, and no, it's not done yet. Buddy. Fucking hell, he's daydreaming about Pokemon Go or some shit. Now, what's McLaren going to do? That was a pit... Well, I mean, that's totally cooked the max chase. That's done. Now, what's McLaren going to do? Are they going to switch him? They have made noise about pit stop fuckery and unfairness before. Remember Hungary last year? I just remember Norris dealing with that last year, but I mean, like I went over last year, I think that was bad. It was a bad mistake for McLaren to switch them in Hungary last year, because they were fighting against Red Bull and going for a championship. This year they're fighting against each other for a championship, so it's a lot safer. They don't really have to worry about anything external. Will they switch Piastri and Norris? They don't have a lot of time to do it, if they're going to, because it is lap 48 to 53. Alright, Verstappen being told just bring it home, no risk. No risk, full push. It's about as max as it gets. Now, I get the feeling they will. I get the feeling that they will. They've got a pretty decent rapport between the both of them, despite being in a championship, title fight. Piastri is a lot of points ahead of Norris already. Like I said before, he is likely to finish, regardless of today, he's likely to finish ahead in at least 3 or 4 of the races coming up, and that's if he takes it easy as well. So we'll see what Oscar does. Now, is this going to be a Seb Vettel, a Lewis Hamilton, a Schumacher moment? Yeah, an Alonso moment, and that's McLaren themselves also bringing up Hungary last year. Slow pit stops part of racing, but nah, okay, Oscar's let him go there, so there was thoughts about that. He was thinking about it. And I was wondering, I was just going to say, is this going to be his Seb Vettel moment, his Schumacher moment, where an instance where he just goes, no, you know what, bam, fuck your, fuck the other guy, it's my team. But no, he's given it up. That's remarkable control by McLaren over their drivers there. Hungary here, and I remember here last year as well, Oscar threw it around the outside of Leclerc on lap 1 and just, not Leclerc, sorry, on the outside of Lando Norris on lap 1 and just kind of snookered his race. So free to race now, Oscar, and I get the feeling, I mean, he might really want to push it here. But it's a bit of a shame for Lando, because he shouldn't have even been in this situation. That was all just a shitty pit stop. Look at Verstappen already into turn 1 as the McLarens are around Parabolica. It's just, I cannot believe how quick the Red Bull has been today. It's just crazy. Like, he's absolutely running away with it. It's I didn't think that I mean, he was so quick at qualifying yesterday, but to do it over an entire Grand Prix distance as well, 20 seconds ahead now. I mean, Lando had a slow stop, okay, but 20 seconds ahead with 3 laps to go. That's just insane. It's incredible. Stroll in the pits. Ocon has still not pitted, by the way, which is incredible. I think everybody who hasn't pitted now is just waiting for the safety car. They're waiting for a safety car because there's really not a lot of time left. Yeah, there's just not a lot of time left to make the soft tires work like that. When you give your driver 3 laps to make up all of that time and all of those positions, you're basically sending him out there to go fuck himself. I mean, this timing screen, by the way, don't even pay attention to this. This is a couple laps old, thanks F1, but Max laughing about the McLaren dilemma there. Just because he had a long stop. That's cheeky out of Max there. I know what he's doing. He's trying to psychologically fuck with them there. I don't think it's like a really insidious comment kind of there. Maybe it's a telling thing, but I wonder if both of these guys are going to see that comment from Max later and be like, give them something to think about. Maybe he's telling Piastri subtly, because he knows he'll hear it later. Maybe he's telling him, don't ever play the team game like that. Oh, there's a lot of gravel on the outside of the second chicane there. I wonder what that's all about. I mean, Piastri also said the slow stop's part of racing, so... Yeah, like I said, it's impressive over McLaren that they've managed to convince both of their guys to give up positions like they have in the past. Shows a bit of team harmony there, to be honest. It's good for them. It's really good for them. I get the feeling if Piastri was chasing Lando Norris in the championship, if he was that many points behind, maybe he wouldn't have given it up so easily. I get the feeling there's kind of no reason to there's no reason to really get the whole team angry at you. Just kind of for no reason when you've already got the championship half wrapped up. Now it is lap 52 of 53. Let's give this one last attempt here. Maybe we can get something out of live timing with a lap to go. Who knows? Esteban's in the pits, so he will be also serving a penalty there, so that's a penalty for both Haas's. Which ain't great. Of course, it's not great for them, but, you know, what can you do? What can you do? And, no, live timing is just totally fucked. Whatevs. It's lap 52, it's not lap 50. Whatever. Either way... So I'm assuming Antonelli will not finish in 8th. I get the feeling he's going to eat a penalty for that. And look at that, Bortoleto. If it's a 5-second penalty, Bortoleto will go up to 9th. Oh, we'll go from 9th to 8th. If it's a 10-second penalty, Antonelli could well fall down to 10th here. Now, Sainz is right on the back of Hadjar here as well, so keep an eye out on that. He's going to be driving angry. That is a position he should have been in. Hadjar really inherited that when he was taken out by Behrman, so... I get the feeling Carlos is going to be driving very angry here. Yeah, 5-second time penalty for Antonelli. So that's what it is for driving erratically. Yeah, fair enough. This is something that really should be getting nailed out of you in F2 and F3 and things like that. I mean, alright, he's a rookie in Formula 1. I'll cut him some slack for that. But if the Mercedes is as competitive as we're expecting next year, he might be a bit of an Achilles heel for that team. So let's see. He'll really have to up his game. Speaking of upping their game, this is Max Verstappen coming around the final corner. And he is winning at Monza. Almost a full lap ahead of Sonoda as well. Embarrassing. Absolutely nailed it. Well done, Max. Well done. Good stuff. On board with Oscar Piastri here, so Norris will stay ahead. There he is. Norris takes second. Piastri takes third. It's something for Norris, but it's not great. It's something. Could have been a lot better. Leclerc in fourth. So yeah, like I said, no pace to take the top three. No reliability help, so kind of no podium. So fourth is pretty much all he could have done today. Russell in fifth. Hamilton in sixth, which is a decent recovery. Starting from 10th on the grid. Yeah, Max doing the Italian double. He has won in Imola and at Monza this year, so well done. Albon in 7th. Fantastic for Albon. Antonelli finishes 8th, drops down to 9th. Bortoletto in 8th. Fantastic. Isaac Hadjar, 10th. And then that's it. Sainz ends up 11th. Behrman 12th. Tsunoda 13th, Lawson 14th. Fuck, not great for either of them. So some incidences, a few moments, shall we say, down the field today. So radio just saying thanks Oscar for doing that shit at the end. Yeah, I mean, Oscar's not that chuffed about it, but it's not exactly like he was giving up a win, so it's fine. Don't be too spoiled, Oscar. Remember Hungary last year? Lando did the needful in the end, you know. You don't want to be too much of a bastard here, mate. You really don't want to be. Well, maybe you do want to be, in which case just don't let him by. It's no good, like, just being a passive-aggressive, snarky little shit afterwards. Like, if you're really pissed off about it, just don't let the fucker by and just take whatever's coming from your team boss afterwards. So, anyway, Verstappen, radio. Yeah, just congratulating Max there on a job well done, and it was a job well done. He was fucking flawless today, Max. Absolutely fantastic, except for the first lap unfortunate incident, but no, he escaped a penalty and then he ended up passing Lando and winning anyway, and very comfortably in the end. They were brilliant. Red Bull, specifically Max in Red Bull, was absolutely brilliant today. What is this, Lando Norris radio? Yeah, it's not a lot to say for him. Ferrari running side by side. Carlos Sainz, ex-Ferrari, I think is still trying to get it maybe a little bit involved in this. Carlos, I think they still love you, mate. I know I do. Either way. It's a nice little moment, I think, for the Tifosi. 4th and 6th isn't great for Ferrari, especially at Monza. Not when they're running a livery from when they used to win championships and races. Quite regularly back then, actually, but, you know, whatevs. So, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Albon, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Hadjar. That was, I don't know, what do we want to rate that race? 2.5. 2.5 out of 5. 2.5. It was your bang average race. Of all the races that ever happened, that was absolutely one of them. The top 3 was basically never in question. Maybe the order was. There was a little bit of a moment at the end between the McLarens. There was a little bit of a moment at the start between Verstappen and Norris. There were a couple of moments through the race. Behrman and Sainz, that was definitely a moment. Antonelli and Albon, that was also a moment. You know, something happened there. Hülkenberg retiring before the race even started, that was and wasn't a moment. It was definitely a moment for him. There was no moment after that for him, which was a shame. Either way, what can we say? Decent, great race out of Max. Absolutely fantastic. I'm not sure exactly where that pace has come from for Red Bull, but they've done a killer job this week, so well done, guys. Norris and Piastri, a little bit of consternation there, maybe a little bit of aggro. Maybe one or both of them need to start breaking balls or something. Lando definitely needs to start doing something. I think maybe he needs to just pitch fucking Oscar off the track or something, because 3 points of a catch-up today is basically fuck all. If he does that through the rest of the year, he's not going to get even close to Lando. Even get close to Oscar, rather. Now, Piastri, decent in third. Norris really needs to win. Needed to win today. Didn't have the pace. Needs to win. At the very least, he finished ahead of Piastri, so whatever. Leclerc, Hamilton, 4th and 6th. Again, it's not great for Ferrari. It's something. It's something for them, which is nice, but it's not great for them. Russell in 5th, just kind of nowhere, really. It's kind of the story of his season, really. Apart from Canada, he's just been eternally in 5th, not really pushing anything, not really doing a whole lot. He doesn't really have anyone to race against. He's just kind of there. And that car doesn't look like it's getting any better, and I don't think it will, because now that we're out of Monza, it's the end of the European season, isn't it? I think it's Baku in a couple of weeks next time, and then that's it. That's the end of Europe, which means generally it's the end of all the tech updates, so everyone's just running whatever they got for the rest of the year. Now, Albon in 7th, fantastic for Williams, fantastic for Albon. He's killing it this year. He really, really is. Really, really impressed with Alex Albon. Well done, lad. Bortoletto 8, also killing it. Again, is getting really, really consistently in the points now, and consistently in Q3 too. Gabby's killing it. Absolutely fantastic. Probably my rookie of the year. Antonelli 9th. Could have been 8th. Should really be 6th, to be honest. I mean, if Russell's getting a 5th, the very least you'd expect is probably a 6th, which just is not happening. So Antonelli, I think, is going to have to do a bit of soul searching, and he's going to have to fucking find something. Mercedes might have to find something for him as well, because it's just not working great right now. Hadjar in 10th. Sainz half a second behind. Could have been Carlos. I would love it to have been Carlos, but, whatever. The anime man gets it. Hadjar, 10th place. Decent, that's a decent recovery considering he started from the pit lane. That's good. That is good for Hadjar, so well done, lad. So anyway, Sainz unlucky, Behrman clumsy, Tsunoda dead man walking, Lawson again clumsy, stupid, unnecessary incident with Tsunoda. It's kind of why Red Bull aren't interested in putting him back in the main team, and kind of why they weren't really interested in him in a Formula 1 sense until they were sort of forced into it with Daniel Ricciardo. Ocon, meh. Gasly, meh. Colapinto, meh. I mean, Alpine, really, meh. Like, what can Gasly and Colapinto really do with that car? It's got nothing behind it. And Stroll, dead last, so bad for Aston Martin. Whatever strategy Hail Mary they were throwing flat out didn't work. Stroll's 18th and dead last. Alonso retired with a broken car, and Hulkenberg didn't even race with a broken car, so that's it. And I'd say the only other thing that I was going to talk about, Daniel Ricciardo has retired from Formula 1. Did you even fucking notice that he was gone? It's been a long time now. It's kind of used to it by now. I remember a time when he was brilliant. I really remember a time when he looked like the next big thing. In fact, Oscar Piastri leading the championship 10 years ago. If I'd have told you there would be an Aussie champion for McLaren, if I'd have told you 5 years ago there would be an Aussie champion for McLaren, you'd probably think it was Ricciardo. Oh well, that's life. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you had some fun. That was definitely a race. We'll probably never think about that race again. Baku in a couple of weeks' time. That should be a lot more fun. Definitely a lot more haphazard. Definitely a lot more crazy. Baku usually throws up a lot of fun scenarios. A lot of crazy shit tends to happen there. Amazing races before. 21, fantastic. 18, 17. There's been some all-time great races there. So hopefully we get a little bit more of that this year. That's it for me. Until then, short and sweet today. I mean, it's Monza and there was no safety car, so very short, very sweet. Thanks for watching. Hope you have fun. I'll see you next time.